yeah, let me.
Deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. It's deeper than music. Deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. It's deeper than music. Deeper than music.
What up, what up, what up, what up? It's your man, Furious, Deeper Than Music Radio. Behind every great song, there's an even greater story. I'd like to say what's up to everybody listening on internet land via Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Podcast. Today we have a very special treat, artist from the DFW area who's part of a collective, Gitmo Music, representing. Shout out to everybody in the DFW area. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Muenster here on Deeper Than Music Radio. How you doing?
Hey, well, how are you doing, man? What's good, bro? What's good? Internet land, Spreaker, Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud. I'm going to miss the other ones. But yeah, man, what's good, everybody? Muenster here, representing Gitmo Music here on the Deeper Than Music Radio show.
That's right. We're all over the internet.
Yeah.
The worldwide internets. But,
Yes,
yeah, man, thanks for being on the show. I
Dude,
guess
thanks for having me.
My first question is, and then actually you're one of the first guests who are now, because I've been preaching this whole live video feed or on video.
Okay.
Actually, shout out to Elisa Reyes. She was a actor on All That. Remember that show on Nickelodeon, All That, with Keenan and Kel?
Man. Oh, yeah.
So I did an interview with her. And she had all the lighting, everything looking lovely. And I was like, oh, we're going to do audio. She's like, man, you got to get up to speed and get up to video. So thanks for being on video.
No problem. I don't think my lights are as lovely, but I'm sure it'll be all right, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, it's all good. I can see real good. So
All right.
I see, and you got the mic in the back. So that's what's important.
sir.
You and the mic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So my first question is, who is Muenster and what are you bringing to the music scene?
Wow. All right. So, quick background on me. Grew up, born and raised in Austin. Kind of started getting my teeth, chipping my teeth, if you will, down in that whole kind of brewing hip hop scene, late 1999, early 2000, 2001. And I moved up to DFW and started meeting all the cats in the DFW hip hop scene at that point in time. I formed a band and was going to school for anthropology. So in short, I kind of take an anthropological approach to my music. I feel like everything I'm writing about is about the human experience, my human experience, your human experience. Everybody that's walking this path, man, we're all walking the same path of life together. And I think we lose sight of that. So what I am as Muenster is I kind of take in all of my experiences, all of the people I meet, all of the music I hear, all of the conversations that I have, and I try to recreate that or repopulate that into my music and create kind of a unique anthropological approach to the music. So I'm leaving something behind. My mantra, my statement I tell people is all we have is what we leave behind, man. We're not taking anything with us. So that's kind of what Muenster is from what I bring to hip hop. So I just take a hip hop approach from it. I mean, I'm born and raised down in a weird part of Texas, so I started getting into hip hop real young. I remember the Rap Masters tapes, you know, and then kind of jumping into Tribe Called Quest and Wu-Tang and De La Soul and Organized Confusion on the East, and then getting really into Project Load.
Oh, man, you brought up De La Soul. We're going to have to talk about De La Soul situation.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry to me to cut you off, but
no, you're good. It's what it is, man. It's fluid. It's hip-hop. It's the beauty of it. Yeah, so really just kind of a big old mix of getting into everything. And, you know, of course, being in Texas, it's hard to not be influenced by UGK and some of the other Texas rap, K Reno, South Park Coalition. I mean, all that stuff, Ghetto Boys, Scarface. I mean, so what I am is just a weird mix of hip hop and human experience, man.
Man, I like that. And then I think out of all the people that I've interviewed, you've had the most interesting job, background job. Like my field is I'm aviation and weather.
Okay.
And then shout out to Ape the Grim of Show Off Records up there in New England. He's another MC, but he's a history teacher. So I mean, this man was able to make a song and throw in the SS, World War II. Like he did a whole album based on World War II, but it was all hip hop. So, and I like how you said you're an anthropologist, so you're giving it from the human experience. And my philosophy is great artists connect on a human level. Like when Tupac said something, you felt it. You know what I mean? So that's cool as hell. And also, I know that you're part. I'm implant from the Texas into the DFW scene. I moved out here from DC about 5 years ago. So in the being in the mix, doing the radio show, and just kind of being in and out of the scene, your collective I've seen a lot. Gitmo Music, also the likes of Cali D, DFW. Shout out to Cali D, DFW Master Mics, and also Grays of Absolute Truth. Can you give me a background on the collective Gitmo Music and what they're bringing to the DFW music scene?
Sure, I would love to. So, I think it's 5-6 years strong at this point. It's kind of figureheaded by the brainchild of Keldrick Scott. I don't know if you've seen him online, but he's kind of the driving force and driving factor behind Gitmo. So when you see the population of Gitmo posts, and you see the slogan of Get More with Gitmo, and you see the logos popping around, and you see the posts, I mean, that's kind of driven by the whole collective. So what we are is just kind of a group of DIY artists, from punk rock to singer-songwriters to a lot of hip-hop, producers, artists, everything. We're all working towards the same goal of just trying to get our names out there, trying to get presence, and trying to be seen and be known. And I think it works a lot better from a we over me perspective. And that's how I operate.
Wow. That's important. You said that, we over me.
Yes.
Strength in numbers. I feel like a lot of people don't get that, man. I like that.
It's very true. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't get that, or they choose to be self-sufficing, right? We have to be careful with that. I think it's easy to play into the id, as Freud would say, right? But we need to be careful that our egos don't drive.
Whoa, hold on. I got to cut you off right there. The id, the ego, and the superego, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, you just... Okay, I got you.
So I'm saying we play too much into the id, into our self-sufficing needs, and then our ego allows us to stay there. But if we take a step back into the superego, if you will, into the we, into the collective, you realize, to your point, with strength in numbers, man, it accomplishes so much more when we leverage our relationships in a positive fashion in order to accomplish a goal for both parties than if we just try to eat all the food on the table and it all goes sour, man,
Yeah, you know what? And you made me think about something, because you mentioned the golden era of hip hop. And then when you was talking about the collective and your process and your beliefs behind that, I was like, man, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, you really don't see, besides the Migos, you really don't see in hip hop a collective coming up. Like we had Outkast, we had the Dungeon Family, we had the Saint Lunatics, we had Rough Riders, we had Wu-Tang, and the understanding was you have one person. When I shine, you shine. The whole collective comes out. And as you were talking, I thought about it. I was like, man, you really don't see that much anymore in hip-hop.
You really don't, man. We grew up on it, though. It was like a standard for us, right? That was like, the super group or whatever. It was just the hip-hop group. I mean, we didn't ever think of Wu-Tang as a super group or anything. That was just Wu-Tang. That was just who they were, Tribe. That's just who they were, man. That's just who they were, man. So... you're right. Even and then back to the West, I think you talk about whole collectives like Project Blow or The Good Life before or Living Legends or Hyro. I mean, those are what I guess you'd call super groups, but those were just hella dope MCs that were helping each other out, all trying to get their presence known. Regardless, trying to make good music. Hobo Junction, got out Hobo Junction right there too. I mean, So anyway,
I will say from my standpoint. Being here, you guys are doing your job, because I think the first time I moved out here and started like looking into the music scene just to get a feel for what DFW was bringing, Gitmo, you see it around a lot, you know what I mean? So you guys are definitely doing your thing. Like, and then when I got your press kit and stuff, I saw Gitmo, I was like, all right, cool. The show's been, I say, about almost a year, and I'm like, okay, good. Now I finally got somebody from Gitmo.
Cool, man. Well,
repping the scene. So we're gonna. Go ahead.
Oh, Dustin, just from our Gitmo slogan would be breaking barriers, building bonds. So I think that's what we're doing right now in this podcast right here. We're breaking barriers and building bonds, Marcus.
Exactly. So the first song we're gonna get into is The Message, and I know that you have a very powerful video with this as well. So the way I'll set it up is we'll give us the story on the song, we'll play the song, and then we'll talk about the video and just your thoughts and feelings on the video, because you hit on a lot of things that are very, very important and things that you're seeing that we need to be aware of here in our society now. So I guess before we play the song, could you give us a little background on the song? What was the inspiration behind the
Sure,
song?
yeah, absolutely, man. This song is called Message because I believe that we have to start a dialogue and create a dialogue that's comfortable so that people on both sides of any fence and any argument can come together to discuss something fluidly. And so this song Message is about kind of the culmination of drug culture and over inundation of ridiculousness and lack of substance in hip hop being shoved down our throats, but being told that this is what we have to acclimate to be on point or to be on the current pulse, coupled with systematic abuse by police powers in America and abroad, but especially on black males under the age of 35. I mean, it's something to the rate of 40,000 or 35,000 years of life are lost yearly collectively due to police abuse and abuse of power in this country. I mean, it's just atrocious amount of, if you think about that number, 40,000 years of life, wow. 35,000 hours of life, hours of life, but it's just insane. No, years. I'm sorry. My statement is true. Yeah, 35,000 years of life collectively. That's just insane, man. Anyways, so my point is that something has to be done. Something has to be done to change the narrative, because the narrative continues to be that divisiveness is the right rule of law, and that if we say anything, we're to be stepped down or to be disenfranchised. And the more people that speak, the more power is back to the people. So the song Message directly relates to both what's happening and what we see and what we can do to change it, man.
You know what, man? Before we even begin the song, man, I applaud you for that. I get mad because hip-hop, in our era, hip-hop started off as the message. Don't push me because I'm,
Yes.
It informed people what was going on, because people didn't understand what was going on in the urban communities, or like you say, the abuse of power. And I get mad now because it's like hip-hop music is the voice of the people that are unheard, The
voice of the voiceless, man. The voice of the voiceless.
And I get mad when people, like, if you part of this culture, I don't care if you white, black, green, whatever, you're part of the culture, man. And the thing that surprises me is very little people have talked about what's going on, because we see what's going on. And like you said, like, I get it to a certain extent, and I see that, like, to certain people, if you speak out, they'll have your throat on your necks. But as a musician, we see the world differently. We should be speaking out. Like, I don't, like, man, see, you bringing me back. Like, we don't have the self-destructions. We're all in the same gang. Everybody is, just, like, come on, man. Somebody needs to speak out on it. So, I applaud you on this song. So we'll play the message, and then we'll get deep here on Deeper Than Music Radio.
Thank you, sir.
What's up, y'all? Muenster. That's some PKB shit. Let's go.
Out of here in a green glass, 710, I mean gas, pull up, hit the yo-yo, cast a fade, couple dollars in the whip, goes ride the bars, homie wave, see the God ride bars, homie wave. I go hard like some slave. I go bizarre in the bass. I feel like I'm proving your point and disproving your point. And we smoking and joining. This jam is the joint of what's even a point. I'm removing your boys, and that's if you got nothing to say. Filling the part up, and this where the bars was, and this where the bars before started to fade. And you buy like to pay. And I buy like the J. Niners was popping and people was rapping with substance and game. Up what you say. Lil Elf boy rapping out, trapping in the middle of a mansion. Never even been a minute. You been having, never leading to a wish, and you been had another evil person on a planet like, hey. Gold chain and a phone and the keys to the range. They just leave breathing today. Less than $1, but more than you had when you started the game. And that's real in the frame. More than a song, bro, it's less than a change. Messages change, but the weapon's the same. Bless up your stages and fuck up the faces with questions and brains. Wreck it today. Texas that say yes way. We don't front about my business. Us you about to flip a business and a part of wheel chopper got enough to give away. Chop it up and got enough to give away. Hey. Chopping and Chopin and Chopin and Coltrane and Jocko and Miles. Beethoven and Herbie and Martin and Malcolm and Reverend and Rakim and Christopher Wallace started questioning while the rest would read what make the homies acknowledge. Rest in peace to the president, and we shot him dead in deep Dallas. Goes back into the left when they pack a Mac 11, make a Machiavelli out of packs and go and call the Reverend. He gon' need to pack the heavens, all the bodies even back and good heavens when it's ever even ending. Got the referendum for the evening, even though they killing and they raping all the children. Just what it takes to build a village on the back of the indigenous and sugar spice rolls. And we wondering the world's lost psycho. Let me see a show of hands to everybody showing how to know how they best affect the change and try to be inside a world that never even been. I lend a hand and try to watch a town when it's all like burning down. So it sells up the smoke. They want us divided in stone. So we distracted in droves and they sit back and laughing and glow masquerading was all like for ratings. You know what you mean, Benghazi in the black drones. What you mean life matters, white and black ones. Why they killing everybody with some skin tone? Why we acting like it ain't a faulty syndrome? Cops kill people, their people kill cops, and they take out the dreadnecks like where does it stop? We left with no choices cause all of it shot, leaving us voiceless back at the start.
This is Greg of Greg in Good Company, and you are listening to Deeper Than Music Radio.
Yes, that was Message by Muenster. Man, I'm still tripping out on the numbers you gave me, man. The number of years, man. That, wow.
Sad. It's just sad, you know.
And then I just got through watching Unsolved on Netflix. And even, man, yeah, I'll just talk about it. I feel like with the cops and you see the kids that are just like, okay, this person got killed, this person got killed. I just feel like it's like back in the 60s, and these are the lynchings, you know what I'm saying? And I guess what bothers me the most is, and you said it, the narrative changes, and I have so many thoughts like, man, do you not see what I see? Do you not feel what, do you not see what I see? And it enrages me, and especially, man, I'm not gonna lie, for a while, man, I just, from my perspective, like as hip hop artists, I'd look, and I used to make it a point to ask that question, like, how do you guys feel about what's going on? But then a couple people would, shy away. That's why I applaud you, man. And then I'm sorry that number just blew my mind. I'm still in the process of the number. But also, let's talk about the video too, because with the visuals, with those very real lyrics, the video has very vivid visuals too, to like add to the shock and awe factor of what's really going on.
For sure that. I mean, I wanted to tie the visuals in the video to directly the themes of what I'm rapping about. So did you peep some of the video while we were listening, or have you seen some of the video?
Yeah, I've seen some of the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you know, in that video, I'm wearing multiple different masks, right? Or multiple different outfits to represent that of which I'm talking about. So from the SoundCloud ridiculous rapper nonsense guy to the preacher to the police to the robber themselves to everybody that is a factor in what I think we're being shoved down our throats, what's being driven by the industry, the machine itself. I think that the visuals in that video I'm trying to represent, to adhere to what the words are, so that you see directly what I'm talking about and the brain receives it in a different fashion. So yeah, I hope people that like that song, you guys go out and find the video for it. It's out there on YouTube. It's easy to find. It's on a bunch of sites, a bunch of blogs. So man, thank you for that. And it's a shame that we have to be applauded for speaking out about what I feel like our platform needs to be about. I think it's our job as artists, man, to take the power that we have as MCs, especially as masters of ceremonies, to drive the ceremony in a fashion that creates the dialogue that drives change. We have to be the change that we want to see in the world, man. And so I think, back to your point, people shy away of it because we live in a cognitive dissonant world where people are only going to see what they want to see. And we have our heads in the sand and we shy away from things because we operate in fear. So the more that we can squash fear out with love and acceptance and understanding, then the more powerful we become. And it goes back to we versus me, and it goes back to the collective, and it all really ties into who I am as Muenster. Back to your first question. So this is all part of who I am, man. So I love this as much. So Yeah.
You just mastered, man. Shout out to Karis One, man. Thank you, man. Cause I just be like, from my perspective, I just like some people, like even, and I never understood this. Okay, so I'll break it down because I'm a father. My daughter's 12, and one day I was, life, and as you age and situations start to make you think a different way. So from a father's perspective, like when I was young and 20, out in the club doing my thing, I really didn't, like for example, back that ass up. 20 years old, single, didn't have any kids. That was my jam. But then as a 41-year-old father listening to that song to a 12-year-old, it's like, yo, this song is, nah, that ain't it.
No, that ain't it. That ain't it, man. Yeah.
And then I strongly believe
for sure.
Garbage in, garbage out, because when I was listening to music, rap music was still bad. But like, for example, Ice Cube, Kill at Will, Death Certificate, it spoke on like some real stuff, and he gave you some seeds to think about. And I'm a firm believer of garbage in, garbage out. And like you said, with the SoundCloud and even with the music of the day, no disrespect, but every now and then I want a little message in there, because what kills me, say for instance, I have my brother's like in his early 20s, and I had to tell him, like, look here, and actually I was thinking about that movie Menace to Society when Charles S. Dutton was telling Kane, like, the hunt is on and you are the prey. So that movie came out in 93, and I feel like you said, under the age of 35, African-American males, it's like I had to break it down to my little brother, because he listens to that music, and I'm like, dude, think about what's going on. Like, if you're perceived as a threat, there may be problems. And even with me, man, I drive my car, and if a cop pulls me over, it's always in the back of your mind, like, hey, if shit goes south, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
It is.
Yeah, man.
It's
so
sad.
Like a constant target,
Yeah,
constant
and it's sad.
target. So what Ice Cube may have been crass in his raps, but he was talking about the absolute fact of we need to be aware. Be aware of what the outcome is of other people's intent. It's not just about your intent. You always have to be aware of what other people's intent is, and those with power often have the worst intent. So,
wow, man, you dropping some jewels. I'm sorry, we getting deep on this show. I applaud you for that, because that number, man, even that number just drives it. Man. So, what has been your biggest challenge in your career as being an MC? What has been like, and you said like part of the do-it-yourself movement, what do you think has been your biggest challenge thus far?
Oversaturation.
Yeah.
In one word. But to elaborate on it, I think, look, man, ain't nobody going to find your music if you don't back your music with some form of drive. And that's just a statement to the world. That's to the young acts coming up. That's to these old heads thinking, oh, I should be this, I should be that. They should be doing this for me. Ain't nobody going to do anything for you that you don't do for yourself.
Nope.
If you want to be a part of something, get and be a part of something. So a movement is just that. You've got to be a part of the movement. Even if it's just your own self-movement, man, you got to put a little budget together. You got to put a little drive together and dedication. Create 3 hashtags that are yours. Own them, push them. Remain on that. So my challenge up till this last project, Weird Hope, shout out to Weird Hope. That's the project name, Weird Hope. Up to this project, man, some of my hardest, most difficult challenges have been oversaturation and not knowing how to effectively get my name to stand out of the crowd. And what I've learned over the past 15 to 18 months is it takes a little bit of money, and it takes even more grit. And that means waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning and emailing 15 blogs just to be rejected by 14 of them. But maybe that one picks you up, man. And then do it again the next night, and then do it again the next week, and just push your video to all these different pages, man. I'm probably a part of 50 different music groups now on Facebook where it's share your music, yo, push me, I'll push you. And it sounds like a slog, and it is, and it sucks. And you don't really like everybody's music, but you know what? It's about strength in numbers, going back to what my man Marcus just said earlier. So with the strength in numbers creates the movement, creates the backing, creates the shares, creates the spread, creates the reach. And Instagram, man, Instagram, posting your music links and your pictures. There's not active links in Instagram, but you post a picture and you put the link in the comments, and it spreads, and you can see the result. You can see the numbers. So
You made me think of Common's one. He's like, opportunity knocked, but he didn't call before he came.
Yeah.
And, my favorite is, yeah, man, you get me on your team, I could do X, Y. Now what I've learned to have to do as a seasoned person in the game is, I see, like one of my friends always told me, he's like, it's 20% talent, 80% drive. It took me a while to understand that. And now it's like somebody's tried to, I like to say people have their slogans. And now it's like, okay, I heard your slogan, but I got to go back and like as with any job, I got to check your references. I got to check your rap sheet. Because a lot of people,
man.
It's all talk. And what's crazy to me is we come in the era of the card catalog and go into the library. Now all you got to do is just Google and YouTube it. There's no, like, for example, this radio show. I mean, I was part of a radio station. I'm like, I want to do my own thing, and I'll Google, Google and the school of Google. But you're exactly right. What has been the most satisfying? And then also you reminded me of the rule of 10%. So you hit up about 100 people, the rule of 10%, maybe 10, but like you said, you put a lot of effort and don't expect to get much, because it's gonna be like you said, you hit up 14 blogs, you may get about 4 blogs, but even that 4 on one blog, to me that's a win,
Exactly, man. It's 90-10, and so that 90-10 rule applies so much. And I don't want to draw on too much time on it, but we should touch on it. So it's about what you see, what the fans see about the artist is the 10% sticking out of the water, but you don't see the 90% of that glacier underneath the ocean that took to get to where there's just a tip sticking out, man. It just takes so much work to even be seen, or to create a wave, or to create a crest of a wave. So that goes into what artists don't realize. It takes 90% of the behind the scenes work to create 10% of what is flashy, what looks good, what seems like success. Man, 90% of it's sleepless nights and going back to the drawing board and feeling like you're failing just to fail again, just to maybe win, So yeah.
And man, I may jack up the song name. It's Didactic. Didactic. There we go.
Didactic, yes, sir.
Can you give us that's going to be the next song we play. Can you give us the story and background behind that song?
Absolutely. So, didactic means a driven narrative. And it's like a social cohesion term that is defined by what the narrative is, or what the socially sacred versus socially profane differentiation is. So the song Didactic, I wrote on the 5th of July this year. And if you remember what was going on around that time, we had families being torn apart at the borders, and children being ripped away from their mothers, and being shot at, and being physically impaired from being able to even go through the right process of amnesty due to political sovereignty or religious sovereignty, whatever the reason to claim asylum is. There was not even the opportunity to.
And so given due process.
Yeah. So the song Didactic is a statement of the media narrative and what the media was driving in order to create a visual perspective of tyrants and treasonous, terrorists coming towards our country, trying to rip down our borders, instead of it being actual humans, lives being affected, real families, real children, real pain, real heartache that we look the other way from. And then a little bit I touch on kind of what you see in the pharmaceutical reform and the inability of our leaders that we elect as people to affect any real change, because we allow them to just continue as status quo. So really, it's just kind of a narrative of the state of affairs in America right now.
Damn, man, another one, because I think sometimes it's like, are these people really for the people? So, Didactic, ladies and gentlemen, here we go with Muenster, special guest Muenster on Deeper Than Music Radio.
Shout out DJ Aquanaut on the cuts.
There you go.
Living in the States, you're living in one of the most frugal societies in history of the world.
No justice, no peace. So you see the gods back again. Master of the mind games, not Loki as guardian. Racket on the time schemes, the galaxy, I'm a guardian. I borrow from the cosmos, from Long Beach to LaGuardia. Weaving on your waves, bro, from Texas to Tulum. I'm speaking on the face of the tabula rasa to the tomb. From the cradle to the grave, or the fables of our grace. To the torment on our children's faces, we break them at the gate. So give us your poor, your tired, and your huddled masses. We can hog tie, lynch, hang, and be fascists. Send those to me, the homeless and the tossed tempest. We can exploit, employ, and blame it on the traffic. Blood rights with Trump tights on the back, the mastiffs. He who laughs, racks the most stacks of plastic. We don't drive the dollar sign and fleece them with some taxes. Famous cause the border on division or the classes. Yo.
Genocide of Native American people. Check out slavery.
It's hands up, don't shoot is what they tell us in classes. YouTube, Facebook, live leak and dash cams. Must have been a typo, can't be true. 4,000 dead men, the land of white or red and blue. I is the greatest land for all things. Fucking A, get her done. I guess that works if you're an idiot, Caucasian male, well off and young. Try walking as a Muslim child, or even one without a tongue. The vision I'm describing often riling makes us numb. Yeah, I've seen it on the monitors. Heard they out here saying. We read it on the monikers, choppers out here spraying. We breathe it from the officers until we can't, just saying. Now we speaking on the block for all of those who didn't make it. A moment of silence for someone gets violent and pull up and talk about test me. I'm mad and I'm violent and this is how stubborn they killing our children and blaming the village. I'm liable to go off the villain. It's full hearts inside of the Congress and I am the dollar to doctor. We dying inside of our city. The wish not stop till we wake up and make it.
To Deeper Than Music Radio.
Didactic here on Deeper Than Music Radio. Man, you got I like the boom back sound. You flip it. Lyrics, it reminds me like Tech Nine. And before I forget, man, we starting a new show. Actually, we're doing a pilot run later today. It's called Conscious Cafe, man. I'm giving you a invitation. I want you to be on the show, man. It's this Conscious Cafe. We talk about lyrics. We talk about like good music, lyrics, beats, and bars. And like I think you would add a good commentary to the show and the culture.
Thank you, sir. I would love to be a part of that. That sounds dope. I'm with that. Yeah.
And on the flip side, so I asked you, what was the most challenging? What has been the most rewarding part of your career, like a rewarding moment?
Touring. Playing different cities, playing different crowds, playing different festivals, playing Warped Tour. But really going all over the country, getting to share the stage with some other, local cats that are just trying to grind it out too, man. They're just trying to be seen, And so I think going on tour, whether it's a three-day run or a 3-week run, touring has been some of my most rewarding moments in hip hop as a performer, that and getting to play with some of the legends I grew up listening to, from Freestyle Fellowship to Haiku D'Etat to Raz Kaz to, I don't know. I don't want to go down the list, but it's kind of a trade-off between either touring or getting to play with, you grow up with these legends, hearing them on tape and then buying their CDs and listening to the styles over and over and over and memorizing the verses. And then all of a sudden you look down and you're on a bill with Opio or Micah 9 or, whatever. It's just crazy.
Yeah. And then we talked about it. How do you feel, man? No, okay, yeah, because you mentioned De La Soul. How do you feel about the De La Soul situation right now with Tommy Boy Records?
Man, how do I feel? I feel like it's absolute trash that these guys, legends in the game, as many albums deep as they are still having to fight for their right, to just be paid out equitably as artists. I think that this is a larger symptom of the problem in the music industry. And unfortunately, being in a contract society, we don't really always understand what the ramifications of perpetuity is or what it means to be locked into an X amount of records or content deal. And it sucks. It's a shame. And I really hope that enough enough light gets shed on this situation. It seems like it is. It seems like enough people are getting behind this in the right way that maybe we'll see some kind of effective change from it. But man, yeah, I think it's a shame.
Yeah, because it's like that leads into my next question. How do you feel about like the services, streaming services such as your Spotify, iTunes, the payout? You know, we went from I remember I used to do consignments, and then it went from consignments to iTunes, and then from iTunes, I remember I was dating, shout out to Malin. She was from Sweden, and she's like, yeah, your music's on Spotify. I didn't know what Spotify was, but then later I figured out what Spotify was. But during each phase, the payout became less and less and less.
Oh, yeah.
However, your music, I mean, like you said, oversaturation.
Exponential. Yeah, your reach becomes exponential, man. I mean, well, okay, yeah, it's oversaturation or exponential reach. It depends on how you do it, man. How you drive your social media. It's really dependent on how it benefits you or hinders you. So, do I think it's trash the amount of negligible money we get paid as streaming artists? Absolutely. But do I think it's amazing that I've got 2,700 monthly listeners and 200 followers, and I'm listened to from Sweden to Canada to Mexico to America to Canada? I mean, it's just, dude, I don't know. It's a constant trade-off, man. I want to say from a monetary standpoint, give me my money. But I want to say from a musical reach standpoint, I think it's a beautiful thing, man. I look at these things I'm getting, dude, and I don't know. It's out of this world. It's another world. The music industry is another beast. There's not enough money in streaming to try to make it. If people want to make money on their music, it's merch. Yeah,
and merch, and even
like a brand and sell tangible items. I'm wearing a shirt right now. I don't know if it can be seen.
Probably
not. But this shirt directly ties into the visual from the video, which is the first song on the album, and it's just creating visual branding and visual stimulation. The shirt says message. It's 4 simple images. Has my logo at the bottom, and it directly ties into the project that I'm pushing. So,
and that's what I tell people. I'm like, if you master the marketing aspect, you're in there, because it's like a sea of music, and it's like the main question is why? Why should I buy your music? Why should you stand out? What is your story? Why are you interesting? And if you can manage that, and it's even so much as like, look, I got the radio show. Streaming, I don't get nothing for streaming, but like if I get something placed on TV, I'm going after licensing. You know what I mean? Video games.
Placements and licensing, man. Placements and licensing.
And like you said,
placements and licensing artists, that's where it's at.
And like you said, touring and doing shows, and I think it's cool that, you know, with social media, you can be out and about, but then on the flip side, R. Kelly, social media can, you know, once you get burned, you know. And then from a perspective of my daughter, remember back in the day, you had a bully, you dealt with that bully at school. You know, now it's like the internet can be mean.
School is not a wall. Yeah, school is just a temporary platform for continued bullying. Now it's just Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever. You know, I got a daughter too, so man, I'm right in the thick of it, and I'm a couple years ahead of you on it. So social media, man, watch out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man, it's good God. No, a lot of people tell me it's I'm in the beginning of the preteen teenager craziness. Yeah, so we're gonna go into your next song. Chances are, can you give us a story, the rundown behind this song?
Yeah, man, this is a great song. This is probably my most Irish song on the album, and it just celebrates the importance of being in the moment with those of us that we love in the here and now. We get so caught up in the past or get caught up in the what's going to come that we fail to realize the importance of just hanging on right now. Yeah. So it's an homage to an old Bob Marley and the Wailers song called Chances Are. And I think folks that are hip to that might hear some nods or notes to that. But ultimately, this is a reggae tune that I wrote. My man Cloak Beats produced, and it's a pleasure to play it for you guys.
Here we go. Special guest Muenster, Chances Are, here on Deeper Than Music Radio.
Hey, this is Jake Kassman of Drunken Logic, and you're listening to Deeper Than Music Radio.
This one is Cloak Beats.
not so. I am not a villain, I am not, no. Be my stranger village, said a villain, I am not, no. Enter to the age of opposition, everybody got no patience, but without a pot to piss, they got a soapbox and a blanket of opinions. Think we so lost if we gather up like pigeons on my koi fox in that hen house. Destroy locks, that's what I've been about. You know, break barriers, feel bombs out. I got the strength to carry you when your wind's out. All of my people, we gon' rise up. Press the position and the vibe, cuz stress what we living in, the time's up. This message a day and a life, just one of many, but I'm also fuel. Carbon matter and some fossil fuel, and complex atoms and some thoughts to prove. And chances are I got lots to do. Chances are, some might not hold out. Chances are, chances are, hang on right now. Chances are, I am not a villain, I am I know. We are not the villains, we are not so. I am not a villain, I am not, no. We my stranger's village, said a villain, I am not, no. Gather round, look around, come around, that is not your enemy. A villain I am not, as I'm filling up the box on top. The maneuver of the gotta make the clock tick tock. See, time ain't wait for no one, non-stop. We push the weight of our world on top. The young ones take the scrap from our crops, take the blast to the face of our cops. What's that say about us? And we gone way beyond tough. All of the love lost found, if we could just talk, let's put down the guns and just walk. Learn about Glocks, forgot about locks, Luther's, Mandelas, and Malcolms. We gloat about things like a pirate we reap, but each boat we deplete in the fountain. I am not a villain, I am I know. We are not the villains, we are not so. I am not a villain, I am not, no. We my stranger village, said a villain, I am not, no. Chances are, some might not hold out. Chances are, chances are, hang on right now. Chances are, chances are, they're gonna leave now. Chances are, chances are, hang on right now. Chances are, we have one self, best learn it. Chances are, we have one life, best get it. And chances are, we have one love, best own it.
What up, what up? This is Matt James, all the way from Canada. How's she going, eh? And you're listening to Furious on Deeper Than Music.
Chances are, very irie. Love the jam, man. The music is definitely good, man. I think the good part is, man, the message behind the songs, man.
Thank
You get some seeds. And as with every great interview I have here on the show, like, time flies, man. So I guess this is your moment. But before I give you the shameless promotion green light, my last question is, what does music mean to you?
Oh, dude, music means life to me. So what music means to me is frequency, vibration, connectivity, collective cohesion in a form of translatable sound that we can all receive. It doesn't matter where we're from, where we're born. If we can hear, then we can receive it. And even the beauty of technology these days is even if we can't hear, we can see music and we can feel music. Music is a connectivity point, and if we use it collectively, it can change the world. That's what music means to me.
There
Power.
we go. So now with the minute and 40 seconds left, man, shameless promotion times, man. What do you got going on? Where can people find you?
Okay. All right. So the song you just heard, Chances Are, is my latest single. It's the second one on the album, Weird Dope. I've mentioned it a couple of times on the project. So again, that's Weird Dope. Weird and Dope. Weird and Dope. Weird Dope. That's what it is. It's my newest project. It's on Gitmo Music. It's coming out at the end of the month. I'm pressing up a vinyl. So if you guys are interested in copying this thing on vinyl, I'm finishing up my Patreon campaign this month. You can go to patreon.com/Muenster, and then I'll be moving everything over to a dedicated website, get the pre-orders in, get you guys a copy of the vinyl, copy you guys a CD. I got hoodies. I have shirts. Again, I don't know if you guys can see it. It's probably a little bit hard. I'll stand up.
There you go, yeah.
Not going to work. But anyways, I got shirts for $20 on the website. They correlate to the message I'm trying to push. All of my social media at Muenster Vision. So that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, Gitmo Music. Find us. Check us out. Muenster Weirdo 2019. It's the year that we take music back, guys. Let's do it.
So there we go, Muenster here on Deeper Than Music Radio. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thank y'all, man.
Yesterday seemed miles away, couldn't stay. Had to gather my things, catch the train of thought, spark the vision. Better living, given a chance, enhance this dream, make it seem true indeed. Leave a waste of space so I can chase venues, talk to you through tunes, room back, see the sack, rap about how it went down. Found music to get through, soothe these, release, be at peace, manifest words, deferred pain, sustained, remain at the top of my game. Came, never left,